You know that feeling? That late-night stomach growling, nothing in the fridge but condiments and regret kind of feeling. It's a specific brand of modern desperation. It was pushing 1 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I was deep in a coding rabbit hole. The kind where the world shrinks to the glow of your monitor, and the only thing that matters is defeating a bug that's been laughing at you. For 6 hours straight, my brain was fried. My body was running on cold brew and spite. And the only prayer I had left was for a large pepperoni and extra cheese from Sal's Pizzeria. Sal's was the only place that delivered this late. This far out on the edge of the suburbs, where the streetlights started to get shy and the trees got bold. Their pizza was fine, greasy, dependable, the kind of pie that sits in your gut like a happy brick. I placed the order online, got the automatic confirmation. Your food will be delivered in 30-45 minutes. Standard stuff. I went back to wrestling with my code. The promise of molten cheese, the only light in my digital trench. 45 minutes came and went. No biggie. An hour. Okay, a little annoying, but I've been there, the late-night rush and all. I refreshed the tracker. It just said, out for delivery. No map, no little car icon, just those 3 words, staring back at me. I called the shop. Busy signal, weird, called again. Same thing. Then, at the 70-minute mark, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. Hey man, this is Leo. Your driver from Sal's. Sorry. My phone's about to die and my car's acting up. GPS is toast. Can you just text me your address again? Want to make sure I got it right. Relief washed over me. Okay, a human being, a simple problem. I tapped out my address, 1247 Hemlock Drive, and hit send. Me, no worries. It's 1247 Hemlock Drive. Look for the blue mailbox. Unknown, blue mailbox. Got it. Be there in 10. I went back to my screen, the bug now seeming a little less formidable. The cheese was on its way. All was right with the world. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. I walked to the front window, peering through the blinds into the inky blackness of my cul-de-sac. Nothing. No headlights, no sound of a sputtering engine. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the crickets singing their nightly dirge. My phone buzzed again. Unknown. Dude, this is embarrassing. I'm like right here, but I think I'm on the wrong street. All the mailboxes are black. You sure it's blue? A cold little worm of unease started to wiggle in my gut. My mailbox was blue. My neighbor's mailbox was blue. Every single mailbox on Hemlock Drive, as far as I knew, was some shade of blue. It was a neighborhood association thing. A dumb, pedantic, but universally enforced rule. Me, yeah, positive. They're all blue on Hemlock. You sure you're on Hemlock Drive? Not Hemlock Court or Lane. Unknown. The sign says Hemlock. Weird. Okay, I'll loop around again. Sorry about this. I stood at the window, my forehead pressed against the cool glass. I lived in a quiet neighborhood. If a car was looping around, I'd hear it. I'd see its headlights slicing through the trees. The silence outside was absolute. It was the kind of quiet that feels heavy, like a blanket smothering the world. Buzz. Unknown. Okay, I see a blue one. 1247, right? I'm pulling up now. My heart did a little stutter step. I stared out the window. The street was empty. My porch light was on, casting a pale yellow circle on my empty driveway and the dormant lawn. There was no car. No one was pulling up. And then I saw it. A flicker of movement at the edge of the tree line, across the street and down a bit. The woods there were thick, a remnant patch of forest between subdivisions. There were no houses over there, just a tangle of oaks and shadows. For a split second, I thought I saw a figure standing just inside the tree line, barely visible. Just a darker shape in the darkness. I blinked and it was gone. My imagination surely, fueled by hunger and sleep deprivation. Me, I don't see you. My porch light is on. There's no car here. The response was immediate. Unknown. I'm right here, man. I'm looking at your blue mailbox. I'm looking at your porch. I see you in the window. The blood in my veins turned to ice water. My fingers went numb. I took a stumbling step back from the window, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. He could see me. Whoever, whatever was sending these texts could see me. My mind raced, trying to latch onto a logical explanation. A prank? A wrong number that had spiraled into some bizarre, creepy coincidence? But how did they know I'd ordered a pizza? How did they know I was waiting? I ran to the kitchen and grabbed the biggest, heaviest knife from the block. It felt absurd and theatrical in my hand, but the weight of it was a comfort. My phone buzzed again, the sound unnaturally loud in the silent house. I flinched. I didn't want to look, but I had to. Unknown. You ordered a large pepperoni and extra cheese, right? The confirmation. The final nail in the coffin of my denial. This wasn't a mistake. This was targeted. Me, who is this? Unknown. It's Leo, from Sal's. I have your pizza. Another buzz. This time it was a photo. The image took a second to load. A blur of pixels resolving into something that made my breath catch in my throat. It was a picture taken from a low angle, through what looked like leaves and branches. It was a picture of my house, of my window, and in the window, clear as day, was my silhouette backlit by the glow of my monitor. The photo was taken from the woods, from exactly where I'd seen that flicker of movement. He wasn't on the road. He'd never been on the road. He was in the woods, watching me. My fingers trembled so badly I could barely type. Me, stay away from my house. I'm calling the police. Unknown, don't do that. You don't want to do that. I just need you to come outside and get your pizza. I can't leave until you take it. It's against policy. Policy. The word was so chillingly normal, so utterly out of place in this nightmare that it made my skin crawl. This wasn't a botched delivery. This was a ritual. I fumbled with my phone, my thumb slipping on the screen as I tried to dial 911. The call connected, and the familiar, calm voice of the operator came on the line. 911, what is your emergency? My name is Alex Ralston. I live at 1247 Hemlock Drive. There's someone outside my house, in the woods. They're texting me. They're pretending to be a pizza delivery driver, but they're watching me. They sent me a picture of my house from the woods. I was babbling, the words tumbling out in a panicked rush. Okay, sir, I need you to calm down. Are the doors and windows locked? Yes, I think so. I just checked the front door. Stay on the line with me. I'm dispatching a unit to your location now. They should be there in about 7 minutes. 7 minutes. It might as well have been 7 hours. I crouched below the windowsill, the knife held tight in my sweaty hand, the phone pressed to my ear. The operator was saying something else, but her voice seemed to be fading, replaced by a dull, staticky roar in my ears. Buzz. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. Unknown, you called them. I told you not to do that. A new photo loaded. This one was closer. It was a shot of my back door, the one that led from the kitchen to the small deck out back. The angle was weird, low to the ground, as if the photographer was crouched in my own backyard. The door was closed, but I could see the flimsy hook latch I'd been meaning to replace for months. Unknown, they won't get here in time, and they won't find me. They never do. Now come get your pizza. I don't have all night. Terror is a physical thing. It's a cold sweat that has nothing to do with temperature. It's a tightening in your chest that makes it hard to breathe. It's the feeling of your own sanity starting to fray at the edges. I could hear the operator's voice, tinny and distant, asking if I was still there. I couldn't form words. Then I heard it. A soft, scraping sound from the back of the house. It was the sound of something dragging lightly across the wooden slats of the deck. I dropped the phone. The operator's voice became a tiny, frantic squawk from the floor. I crept toward the kitchen, the knife held out in front of me like a talisman. The scraping came again, followed by a gentle tap-tap-tapping on the glass pane of the back door. I couldn't see anything through the door's window. The porch light was burnt out. I'd been meaning to change that too. It was just a rectangle of pure black. My phone on the floor in the living room buzzed again. And again, and again, a rapid-fire volley of notifications. I left the kitchen, my legs feeling like rubber, and retrieved the phone. The screen was lit up with new messages. Unknown. You're not being a very good customer. Unknown. The pizza's getting cold. Unknown. It's a shame to let a good pizza go to waste. Unknown, let me in. The last one wasn't a request. It was a statement. Let me in. The tapping on the back door became more insistent. Not a tap anymore, but a knock. A firm, solid knock, knock, knock. I was frozen, a statue of pure fear standing in the middle of my own living room. This wasn't happening. This was a stress dream, a hallucination. I'd fallen asleep at my computer, and any second now, I'd wake up to the sound of a real delivery driver's car pulling into my driveway. Knock, knock, knock. The sound was louder now, coming from the front door. He was at the front door. I spun around, staring at the solid wood of the door, at the brass knob. It didn't move. But the knocking came again, 3 sharp, percussive blows that made the door vibrate in its frame. "Go away," I screamed, my voice cracking with the strain. The knocking stopped. The silence that followed was somehow worse. It was a listening silence. A predatory silence. My phone buzzed one last time. The message was simple. "Unknown. Fine, I'll leave it on the porch. Don't forget to tip your driver." And then nothing. No more texts. No more knocking. Just the overwhelming, deafening quiet. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, barely daring to breathe. I could hear the faint sound of the 911 operator still calling my name. From the phone on the floor, I slowly, carefully, crept back to the front window and dared to peek through the blinds. The porch was empty. No pizza box. No one lurking in the shadows, nothing. A wave of dizzying, nauseating relief washed over me. It was over. He was gone. The police were on their way. It had been a horrifying, psychologically torturous prank, but it was over. And then I saw it, sitting neatly in the very center of my welcome mat. Right in the pool of light from the porch lamp was a single shiny pepperoni. It was perfectly round, glistening with grease. It looked normal. It looked delicious. But the sight of it there, placed with such deliberate precision, filled me with a fresh, bottomless dread. It was a message. A calling card. A proof that it had all been real. I heard the distant wail of a siren growing closer. The police, safety. I should have felt relief. But all I felt was a profound, bone-deep violation. He had been here. On my porch. He had put that pepperoni there while I stood frozen just feet away, on the other side of the door. The sirens were right outside now. Red and blue lights strobed through the blinds, painting my living room in frantic, pulsing colors. I unlocked the door with trembling hands and pulled it open. 2 officers, a man and a woman, stood on my porch, their flashlights scanning the area. The female officer's beam paused on the pepperoni. "Sir, are you Alex? We got a call about a prowler." I nodded, my throat too tight to speak. I pointed a shaking finger at the pepperoni on the mat. The male officer crouched down but didn't touch it. He looked up at me, his face grim. "Did you put this here?" "No, he did. The delivery guy. He was texting me, he was in the woods, he was right here." The words were coming out in a jumbled mess again. I sounded insane even to myself. The officers exchanged a look. The kind of look that says, "Okay, we've got a live one here. Sir, we checked the perimeter. There's no one out here. No footprints in the dew except ours. No car has been here recently. Are you sure you didn't just fall asleep? Have a bad dream?" "I have the texts," I insisted, thrusting my phone at them. "Look at the texts." The female officer took my phone, her gloved finger scrolling through the messages. Her expression didn't change. She handed the phone back to me. "Sir, there are no texts here from an unknown number. The last messages in your phone are from a group chat from earlier this evening." I snatched the phone back, my heart plummeting into my shoes. I frantically opened my messaging app. She was right. The entire, terrifying conversation with Leo was gone, vanished, as if it had never existed. The only proof was the greasy, solitary pepperoni sitting on my welcome mat. They didn't believe me. Of course they didn't. They did a perfunctory walk around the house, shined their flashlights into the empty, silent woods and told me to get some rest. They suggested I might want to take a break from coding late at night. They left me there on my porch, with their business card and a feeling of utter, total helplessness. I went back inside, locked the door, and slid down against it, burying my face in my hands. What the hell had just happened? Had I imagined it all? A psychotic break brought on by caffeine and exhaustion. But that pepperoni was real. I could still smell its faint, spicy scent in the air. I spent the rest of the night on the couch in the living room. The knife on the coffee table, every creak and groan of the house making me jump. Sleep was impossible. The rising sun felt like a pardon from a death sentence. The next day was a blur of fatigue and paranoia. I called Sal's Pizzeria as soon as they opened. A bored-sounding teenager answered. "Sal's. Hi. Yeah. I placed an order last night for delivery to 1247 Hemlock. It never showed up. I was wondering if you had a driver named Leo working last night." "Leo? Nah, man. No Leo here. Let me check the log." Yeah, we got your order. It was canceled. Canceled? By who? System says, by the customer. At 1:23 a.m. That was right around the time I got the first text. There's no one named Leo, the kid repeated. Just me, my dad Sal, and the other guy Don, who was on deliveries last night. He said he tried to call you when he was out front, but you didn't answer the door. He said your porch light was off. My blood ran cold. Out front? When? Like 1:15? He said he waited a few minutes, then left. We canceled the order after that. Sorry, man. So there had been a real delivery driver. Don. He'd come, he'd called. I hadn't heard him because I was probably in the back of the house, or too engrossed in my code. He'd left. And something else had taken his place. Something that had hijacked the order, that had known exactly what I was waiting for, and had used it as a pretext to play its sick game. The horror of it settled over me, cold and permanent. This wasn't random. This was something that hunted. Something that used the mundane trappings of our modern world, text messages, food delivery apps, as its lure. It wasn't a monster that jumped out of the shadows. It was one that slid into your DMs, that knew your order, that understood the specific, vulnerable anticipation of a late-night meal. I didn't sleep well for weeks. I stopped ordering delivery. I got motion sensor lights installed all around the house. I changed my phone number. I was jumpy, nervous, a ghost of my former self. Life, as it does, slowly moved on. The sharp edge of the terror dulled into a low-grade, constant hum of anxiety. I started to almost convince myself it had been an elaborate, hyper-realistic nightmare. Almost. Then, last night, I was over at my friend Mark's place, helping him move some furniture. We lost track of time, and by the time we were done, we were both starving. Ah, screw cooking, Mark said, pulling out his phone. I'm ordering a pizza. You want in? A cold knot tightened in my stomach. From where? Sal's is the only place open this late, he said, already tapping on his screen. Mark, don't, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. He looked up, confused. Why? You got a bad pepperoni or something? He laughed at his own joke. Just don't. Trust me. But he was already placing the order. Too late. Large double cheese and sausage. It'll be here in 40. He clapped me on the back. Relax, man. You look like you've seen a ghost. We sat in his living room, drinking beers and watching a game. The 40-minute mark came and went. Mark checked his phone. Tracker's stuck on out for delivery. Probably just a glitch. My heart was starting to thump a little harder. I tried to keep my breathing even. It's a coincidence. It's just a slow night. An hour passed. Mark was getting annoyed. Dude, where is this guy? I'm starving. Then his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. He looked at it, his brow furrowed. Weird. It says, Hey man, this is Leo, your driver from Sal's. Sorry. My phone's about to die. I was on my feet before he could finish. The room swam around me. No, not again. Not him. Mark, I whispered, my voice raw with panic. Don't answer it. Don't you dare answer it. But it was too late. He was already typing, a smirk on his face. What's your address again? Want to make sure I got it right. No! I shouted, lunging for his phone. He pulled it away, laughing. Whoa, chill out, Alex. It's just a wrong number or something. Probably a spam bot. He hit send. I stood there frozen, watching him. Watching my friend, completely unaware of the door he had just unlocked. He had no idea about the blue mailboxes or the woods or the cold pizza that was never meant to be eaten. He had no idea that the thing that pretended to be Leo was back, and it was hungry for a new customer. He looked up from his phone, his smile fading as he saw the sheer, unvarnished terror on my face. Alex, he said, his voice now laced with confusion and a dawning worry. Man, what is it? You're white as a sheet. I couldn't speak. I could only listen to the silence outside. A silence that was no longer empty, but was now filled with a terrible waiting presence. And I knew, with a certainty that froze my soul, that the delivery was now on its way. And this time I was going to have to watch.